Okay, so in preparation for a class, a workshop that I'll be teaching, it's only a 2-day workshop. And also I wanted to build some of these anyhow. I've been building them, but I just wanted to basically kind of finalize the design. So this is a sofa server. It doesn't look like much, when you're looking at it in a 3D drawing, right? But that's what there's going to be some miters on the corners and other fancy stuff that goes on. But I just want to give you an overview of the table itself. So if I go into X-ray mode, for instance, here's kind of how some things will work. This is the foot down here. I call it the foot. And then from that, I found that this actually works out really well to use a bar, a solid bar. And that is from concrete stakes used by concrete people that for forming the footings. And then there will be a notch down here, and this can be a triple lam or a double lam or just a solid piece of material, but basically that'll get notched out. You'll turn it upside down, and we'll use a chop saw, the settings on a chop saw to start that cut, and then we'll use a bandsaw to finish it off. But then there will be some joinery in here. This will be the threaded tenons. It's all a knockdown joinery. I'm going to finish it off with a small metal plate at the bottom. I could be a round washer, but and then here's the joinery here's the joinery coming in, and then so that's the foot. This is the rods or ballast really, and then there's going to be a leg, which is right here, and that's going to be on mine. It's going to be 1 inch by 3 inch, probably solid material and hardwood, and then the height of that will vary with the couch or the sofa that it's going to go on. That's a huge thing, because when building one of these, you have to measure from the ground up to the bottom of this tray. Like that's 20, going to be called, let's call it 20 inches. The top of the sofas on some sofas are 21 inches, 22 inches. Some are less than that. If you want to go high enough so it slips over the top, but at the same time, if you go too high, then it actually becomes kind of hard on the wrist. Like if you're using that for a mouse pad and a mouse, you can get the carpal tunnel issues, and then the same thing if you're writing. And then, so that's the leg. And then this I call tray 1, which is the main tray. And that's going to be somewhere in the range of, I'm showing it right now as 13 inches, which is actually a pretty good width for a mouse pad and a few other things. But it also doesn't fit on a sliding compound miter in a single pass crosscut. So for the class, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce that down. I'm going to drop it down a 1/2 inch here, and then I'm going to go on the other side and drop it down a 1/2 inch, and call it a day. So now I'm going to have a 12 inch across. Yep, okay, and that will make the capacity on a DeWalt 12-inch sliding compound miter. Now here, this could be wood. I call it a riser, a short riser, but I'm going to use steel on that. I like steel because, let me get rid of that. Okay, I like steel because it's already hollow, right? So if I hide that, we look inside there, it's already there. You don't have to drill any holes in it and whatever. Now that has to be somewhat low, because what you're going to see eventually is this is part of the CNC layout here, but there's going to be a cutout for a coffee cup, a 12-ounce bottle or a can right here, a wine thing, a TV remote, or a cell phone. Then there's other cell phone options on there and so on. But the key to this whole thing is right here, which is the wine stem slot that's going to be put in there. Well, if you try a lot of different wine stem glasses, if you go too high up with this riser, then the stem doesn't work anymore, because you end up hitting the top of the cup. Now, no, not the end of the day, because the wine glass could actually go in this slot or in this slot. But if you want to actually use the stem, then you got to keep that riser short, and I'm doing it at 2 inches. It seems to work. And then this right here, this tray, that is the I call it the upper tray or the cup tray. In fact, I'll kind of hide that part there. But what's going to happen here is this is the tray, and what am I showing it as here? 13 inches. Again, I'm going to reduce that, so we'll drop that down to match basically the height of this, it should line up. It does. Okay, so now it's going to be 12 inches across. Again, if I was doing this for my home, I'd probably make it more like 14 or 15 inches because then they have more room for a mouse and everything else. But this is a class project. We're trying to stick with things that can be done in a very, very short 2-day session. So this is a pretty aggressive project for that. I'm going to delete my guides. Okay, so then again, this overlay will eventually go on here, and this board, this top tray, the tray itself can be run through. When I do them, I run them through the CNC, the actual tray. Otherwise, I make this template out of like a plywood or another material, PVC, and then we use it as a tracing template to trace onto the board. And we'll see how this class goes. Again, it's a 2-day session, but I may give them the tray, the template, let them trace that, and there'll be a great opportunity to learn how to use like a bandsaw to create this arch, a bandsaw. The way this is designed is a person can make these start here with a drill bit, with a Forstner bit. So you got a Forstner bit like a 3/4 here, correct? And then you trace, and now you have a way to get from one end to the other and make that turn. Same thing here. This can be done with a Forstner bit. This can be done with a Forstner bit. This can be done with started with the Forstner bit, and then a jigsaw or a bandsaw to drop into there. So it's a great workout for that kind of stuff. So other stuff on here. So then when I do the design, I start to break it down into smaller sections. This again would be the foot. So this is what I'm going to do here this morning. I'm going to go out, and I'm not going to do a triple lam because it's just I don't want to wait for the glue time. I have some material out there that is I think it's going to be long enough or wide enough. I've got 11 inches by 3 inches, and then call it 3 inches high. So I'll be fine on that. I have some ash out there that I had cut a while back. Either that or I can take a 4x4, and then just basically cut it down to the bandsaw to get that. So that's my foot. And then I've got the post, and on that post, again, that's going to be, this one is going to be 17 inches high. I'm going to double check that with the couch. I think I might end up using this one at home, or I use it out in my shop when I end up building it as my own, for my own use, or I'll give it to somebody, whatever. But that post is 1x3 and 17 inches long. And again, that would be hardwood. And then I have tray number 1, which we discussed, which was going to be 14 by 12. And again, that'll fit on a miter saw. We'll be able to, if we have a larger board, we can chop saw that in one direction on a miter saw. Because this is such a short class, I'm not going to do a glue up on that, I don't think. But so this will be just one piece of wood if I can find it. If not, then I'd have to take 2 pieces or 3 pieces and do a glue up, and then we just have to wait for that. So we'll see how that goes. Then tray number 2, again, that's the cup tray, I would call it. And that one is, I should be able to find that out there somewhere, and that's going to be 5 inches by 12 inches. And then all of this stuff is 1 inch thick. I buy 5/4 lumber from a sawmill near here, or I get it from Reclaimed and so on. And then the next thing, if you're looking up on top, by the way, when I do my layouts, I create tabs. So I'm going to jump over to the CNC. And so the one thing I'm going to test this morning, I'm going to basically, for you CNC freaks, I'm going to hide that. This is basically a group. And then, but if I save this right now in SketchUp in 2017, I'll be able to import this into VCarve, and then I'll make a template out of that using PVC. So I want to get this guy back. So that's the CNC part. Well, then there's a cut list, and that cut list is basically every single piece that needs to go into this this version. And I still have some older stuff out here that I'm not going to use, so I'll get rid of that. There's a different version of that. And then I'm not going to use this other method of the foot, so I'll get rid of those. I'm going to do this stuff as I want it to do anyhow, get rid of these, right? Okay, so basically here's the cut list now. And here, as you can see, the shapes of those down there, but those are going to come from a solid wood instead of a triple lam. A triple lam I would do later when I want to do some different things on it. But so basically there's my cut list. I'll print that, I'll save it, I'll print it, plus I'll also pull this file up on a Android device out in my shop, and then that way I can zoom in to these fine tune things. I can out there I can do this, right? Which is really, really handy. But it shows me the notches I need to cut, the lengths, the height of the miter, everything else. Okay, so then for mounting, I created that template, and that template is going to have a multi-purpose. In fact, you can see right here, here's all the different uses for the same template. It's all one template, 11 inches by 4.5 inches, and that's made of 3/4 inch PVC. Here it shows us two-dimensional only, but now looking at these tabs up on top, if I go to the post, this is how it gets mounted here. Here's my sequencing, like number 1, clamp the post horizontally in a micro bench or a vise. 2, place the 3/8 inch dowel in the template. So we place a dowel in here. 3, place a 1/4 inch ply. So we place a 1/4 inch plywood in these green slots, and that basically wraps around that post that's going to be mounted in a vise. And we're now in 3D. That might help a little bit. So we've got that. That's what's going to happen there as far as mounting the tenon on the end of the post. And then next I go to the foot. Again, now we've got this foot here, right? This is that goofy shaping piece there. But here's how the template would work on there. It's going to be a completely different section of the template, but there again you can see the slot here where there's going to be a piece of plywood, a 1/4 inch plywood that goes in. It helps align that. And then there's what I call a peephole, because we're going to pencil mark the foot itself, and then we'll be able to see through these peepholes for the alignment. And then these yellow things coming across, those are actually for clamps, for the festool, the flat type of clamps, so we can clamp this thing down to a table, because here we're going to be routering, but we need to get that router, we need to keep those clamps below the surface, because the router plate is going to be riding on top of that template. So that's how it's going to work there. And then tray number 1, excuse me, yes, that's the main tray, that's the big one, right? Okay, so tray number 1, the template will sit in a completely different method there. Again, here's that green thing which is for the 1/4 inch slot. Here's the peephole to line up with a pencil mark that we'll place in there, and then here's the instructions. Insert the 1/4 inch, use the peephole, place the spoil board. This one we're going to place a spoil board under because we're going to be drilling a hole. So then we've got tray 2, which is that upper one, similar thing, it just mounted in a different spot. Here we're going to make a hole. Then if we want to use a drill press, this is the same template again. We can actually make our mortises using a drill press rather than a router. And so this is just another one of the templates, right? That's going to go in there. And here what we're going to do is use the same template. We're going to put slots in, or 1/4 inch in the slots. It's going to wrap around the foot, and we're going to use a 7/64 hinge bit to punch 3 dimples in there. We're going to remove the template, then we're going to do some other things with a Forstner bit. And then the same thing with doing some things here on tray number 1. Again, all the instructions are there, but this is all one single template that's going to be used for all those different functions. So again, starting with I'm going to save these files. Basically what I do, I'll go into another software, a screen capture software, and then I'll use this screen capture software to capture these images. It works better than trying to use SketchUp to print and screen capture off of. But that way, the main thing is I'm going to go to this Cutlass tab. And then doing that, I'm going to select all of that, use my screen capture, create a image, and then that image will be saved as a PDF. That PDF then can be used as a digital file, and you can zoom in on a PDF. Like it's hard to zooming in on a JPEG, right? So anyways, that's where all this is going to start, and then I'll end up heading out into the shop and building, hopefully, again, a table that looks like this with, I don't know if I'll go as far as the cutouts or anything, we'll see on that, but I will at least build the table so we've got it. And again, I'm not going to do a triple lamb, but other than that, I'll be testing everything else as it goes. So there you go.